What up, basketball fans? Me again, here to talk some hoops. And today we are talking about someone who belongs to my favorite team, the Washington Wizards. And his name is Kyshawn George, who was selected with the 24th overall pick in this year's draft by the New York Knicks, and then was traded on draft night to the Washington Wizards. And originally, I was not, super familiar with Kyshawn's game. I wasn't super familiar with his, college play. I wasn't familiar with his backstory. I wasn't familiar with anything really. I hadn't really heard much about him until we took him on draft night, or I guess we traded for him on draft night. But through 3 games in the summer league that he has played to this point, I am very, very pleasantly surprised because he did not play, super well in the summer league. Wasn't, amazing, presence, on the court, throughout the summer league in Vegas. And seeing him in an actual Wizards jersey now playing in preseason, like he's good. Like I thought he was going to be a project, and he seems like he's ready to kind of come in and like start scoring points. Like he might average 10 plus points per game this year, which for a rookie that got picked towards the end of the first round, that's interesting, especially with everyone calling this a very weak draft class and saying that there's not going to be a lot of talent that comes out of here. For this guy to get drafted 24th overall and play like this, and I get it, it's preseason, we don't know what's going to happen, but like he's showing a significant jump from just summer league to the preseason. So, and he plays really hard. Like I was surprised at that. Not that I thought that he was not going to play hard, but like, he in the game against the Knicks on October 9th, he had 3 blocks. Like, and the guy's like 6'7", 6'8". He actually had a very big growth spurt, I think, when he was in high school. He grew from like 5'8" to 6'7" or 6'8" within like 2 years or 3 years. So he shot up similar to how Anthony Davis did when he was in high school, and it's possible that he's going to continue growing. Who knows? Maybe this guy's going to turn out to be 6'10", by the time he hits 22, 23 years old. I mean, I knew I grew a little bit in college, not not like that, but I grew like an inch or 2 maybe when I was in college. So it's very likely that this guy who's only 20 years old still might grow another inch or so. So, he could be, a really tall, wing player. He's got guard skills, probably because he grew up probably playing point guard and being a ball handler. But he's just got a really smooth all-around game, and the way he moves on the court is just really cool to watch. I did not see him being this smooth of a player this early. And we'll see what happens once we get to the regular season. But he plays with confidence. He shoots the ball like he's gonna make it, right? And you see a lot of rookies come in and they're nervous. They don't really know how to, blend in. But I think him and Bub Carrington both have, their age doesn't necessarily reflect the type of player that they are, and they've both come in and been, somewhat vocal. They're, fitting in very well with the team, and I'm very excited about it. I'm super excited about it. So he had a rough first preseason game against the Raptors. They were in Toronto, they were in Montreal. They played this game in Montreal, and I believe Kyshawn is from Canada originally. His dad is Canadian and I think played professionally in Switzerland. That's why Kyshawn spent a lot of time in Switzerland as well. And so he had not a great game, but he had 8 points, 3 for 8 shooting, a couple of rebounds, an assist, 2 steals. And then against the Knicks, had 14 points, went 5 for 6 from the field, 2 for 2 from 3, made both free throws, a couple of rebounds. And then this last game against the Raptors, where they played in DC, had 9 points, 3 for 3 from 3-point range. So he hasn't missed a 3, in his last 5 attempts, which is, that's great. I mean, and again, it is preseason, so we don't know what the defense is going to look like once he actually gets to regular season games, but this is a very good sign, in my opinion. And, I see him out there, Kuzma, made an and one, he's running over to Kuzma, dapping him up, just they're trying to build good chemistry. And I really do like what's going on here with this team, after, several years of just, stagnation and not really moving the needle at all, and not moving in, a worse direction to get better or in a better direction with your current players. This is a real good sign for me to see, frankly. So Kyshawn George might be that diamond in the rough. I've been talking a lot about Bub Carrington, thinking that he's going to be, the rookie of the year, might be one of the best players to come out of this draft class, a couple years from now. I think same thing with Alex Sarr. And I think those are the exact type of players in terms of their trajectory that you wanted to target in this draft, because we're not trying to go anywhere right now. This is not a team that's winning the championship. This is not a team that's winning a playoff series, right? I think their ceiling, with a miracle happening, is they finish as the 10th seed and don't win the play-in tournament, right? And I'm fine with that. I've been on record saying I want them to get a top pick in the 2025 NBA draft, get Cooper Flagg, get Ace Bailey, get VJ Edgecombe, get one of those guys, because that's really what you need to do to continue building and have, a solid core talent base and build up a deep team so that, 2 years from now, 3 years from now, you guys are contending, for a top playoff spot. Maybe you're contending for a championship if everything really goes right, but we're gonna have to see how the front office continues to develop and how they pick players and how they utilize players on their team that they might use in a trade, things of that nature. I think Jonas Valanciunas has a lot of trade value, but I would keep him on the roster for now. Jonas Valanciunas is one of those players that I've really liked his entire NBA career. Like, he's just a big guy. You can't really guard him. Once he gets you down into the block, close to the basket, you're not gonna guard that guy, right? And he gets fouled a lot because he's just a heavy dude. He's a big guy. He's 7 feet. He's probably 260, 270 at least. Maybe 280. So he's just a big guy in the paint to guard. So, but Kyshawn George, man, I mean, he's shown a lot of potential. He's already exceeded my expectations in terms of, the preseason. I thought he was going to spend basically the entire year in the G League, but it seems like he's doing much better than that. And it turns out, he did play professionally, in I think in France or in Switzerland for Elen Chalon. That sounds French. But he played 4 years with them, right? So he's been playing professional basketball for like a long time, which, similar to Luka Doncic, Luka did the same thing. Luka was playing professional basketball overseas from the time he was like 16 years old. You can go back and look up, the preseason game where whatever team Luka was on played the OKC Thunder, and Luka was guarding Russell Westbrook like when he was 16 or 17 years old. And it's just, it's incredible. I think the only way that, the U.S. begins to kind of fall in terms of not being the most talented place in terms of basketball players is because we don't have the professional talent, starting early like they do overseas. Like, they have guys starting to play when they're 16 years old, and that doesn't mean they're coming in and they're LeBron James when they're 16 years old, but you start playing pro ball when you're 16. By the time you're 20, you're probably going to be pretty good, right? If you've made it that far in another professional league, you probably know what professional basketball is like, and thus it makes it an easier transition to another professional league like the NBA, as opposed from going to high school to college to maybe the G League, maybe vice versa. You go to the G League or you go to college, whatever, and then going to the NBA, because you're basically going from semi-pro basketball in college and high school, if you play at a top college and a top high school, to true professional basketball with the best players in the world, right? So if you can play in another professional league like the G League or a league overseas and then go to the NBA, you're probably serving yourself better. So Kyshawn George really blowing my expectations out of the water. I'm looking forward to seeing how he develops. He could be one of the best rookies, in this class, and that's not even mentioning what he could be, years down the line. So Let me know what you guys think. If you're a big Wizards fan like me, let me know what you think about Kyshawn George, the rest of our rookie class. Would love to hear your thoughts in the comments down below. I'll catch you with the next one. Peace.